No matter what, people will commit to misunderstanding you. What's most important is your commitment to understanding yourself. Hello, you guys. My name is Nkirka Madani, known as NK, and welcome back to Misunderstood. It's not too late to go after your dreams. Today, I really wanted to give you guys some gentle reminders to stay motivated. We all think about our dreams. We all have dreams. Some of them might feel so far-fetched. Some of them might feel very out of reach. I know I can speak for myself when I say that there are so many dreams that I dream, I write down, I think about all the time, and I lose my way. I lose sight of my dreams because I do get overwhelmed and I do sometimes feel like they're out of reach. But I take a step back and I realize that I have come so far in my life. That's the same for you as well. Everybody who's listening to this, you have accomplished so much in your life, even though you're in pursuit of more. We all want to get to new milestones. We all want to get our dreams, the biggest dreams that we have, and we will in time. I just wanted an episode to serve as a gentle reminder that it's okay that you haven't achieved your goals yet. It's okay that there are dreams that you haven't crossed off your to-do list yet. You still have time because it is not too late. I'm going to share a few stories, of course, and we're really going to illustrate this topic. But before we get started, take some time right now to rate the show Misunderstood 5 stars. You guys know the drill. We love the podcast. We want weekly episodes. We want to continue growing this community. Rating the show is a very free and easy way to continue supporting this show. Listening every week is great and it's important, but those ratings really, really do matter. So please take some time, if you have not already, to rate this show Misunderstood 5 stars on both Apple and Spotify, as well as go on Apple Podcasts and leave a written review. That helps other people learn more about the show. Thank you so much. All right, like I said, I do have a few stories. I wanted to illustrate this topic, this theme. First and foremost, New York Knicks, we won the NBA championship, which is so exciting. 1, I'm so proud of them. 2, it was such a beautiful story to really illustrate how you can literally get the dreams that you want. And it is not too late. For anybody who doesn't know about basketball, that's okay. I'm going to try to explain it as simple as possible. One of the games we played against the San Antonio Spurs, we essentially were down by 29 points. I'm just going to say 30 because that just sounds better. We were down by quite a bit. It was such a huge feat at halftime of game 4. Everybody who was watching maybe doubted them. I was watching it in real time and I said, yes, we are down by so much, but I believed in them and I believed that we could absolutely do this. So I thought, all right, we are going to make this happen no matter what. I don't know what happened in the locker room. I don't know what they all talked about as a team, but they came out so much stronger. We literally came back from a 30-point deficit to win game 4. I think that was just such a great testament to how powerful it is when you believe in yourself, how powerful it is when you decide that it is not too late to reach your dreams. It is not too late to get the goals that you set out to do. The New York City Knicks, we have not won a championship in 53 years. 1973 was the last time we won. There were so many people who doubted them, but something about the magic of the team this year really shows through their hard work, their chemistry, just their teamwork in general. Watching it, it actually brought me to tears. I definitely started tearing up when I saw us at where we were at halftime for that game and where we ended up. It just shows that it does not matter where you're at right now. As long as you keep on playing, you have a chance to win. You have a chance to reach your dreams. That game, that series can apply to anybody wherever you are in life. It literally shows that you do not have to just take your current situation. You can turn the ship around. I have said this before in past episodes. You can turn the ship around. If you don't like where you live, if you don't like your job, if you don't like the scenarios you're being put in, you can change it. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can change the game. You can change the trajectory. The next example I wanted to give is a book I actually finished last night. I stayed up until midnight finishing it. It's a very short book. It's called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I really hope I'm saying his last name right, but this book is a very simple, short book, but what I loved about it and the biggest takeaway is that it had so many amazing themes of persistence and following your path, not doubting yourself, even when it's tough and even when life feels grim. That book was a really great reminder for me that I can continue and really focus on my personal legend, which that statement is said in the book. They explain what that is, but essentially your personal legend is what you believe your purpose is. Finding your purpose, going after it is so essential. And I do have a few quotes in the book that I did write down that I wanted to read for you guys. So the first quote, and this was said in the book probably 3-4 times: when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you achieve it, which is true. This makes me think of all the times where I have done my affirmations, I have done my manifestations. If you literally believe that you could do something, there's actually nothing stopping you. I've used that mantra in a lot of my life, and so many scenarios have reminded me that if I just keep on going, there's absolutely nothing stopping me. That's what I would say to literally anybody. If you have a dream, if you have a goal that you want to accomplish, there is literally nothing stopping you. The only thing you have to do is keep on going. If you stop, then you quite literally can't get to it. But if you keep on going, despite feeling down, despite feeling unmotivated, you will get where you want to go. I can actually promise you that. The next quote in that book that I wrote down was, "It's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting." I've said this probably in 4 or 5 episodes just over the course of time. There is so much beauty in the journey. The journey is actually the most important part of this whole formula. The journey is what makes it worthwhile. The journey is what makes it interesting. The journey is what you're going to talk about when you tell the stories of how you got your dream. It's not just getting the dream. It's how did you get there? Tell me about what it took to get there. Really walk me through it. That's the journey, and that's what makes life interesting. I think a lot of us forget the path. We are so set on getting it, and I literally know I am. Been very focused on checking off boxes and getting to the next thing and next thing, but there is so much beauty in the journey, and I want you guys to remember that as well. The next quote I wanted to read is, "To realize one's destiny is a person's only real obligation." This, again, goes back to the personal legend that's talked about in the book, and I really do recommend anyone read that book. If you just want a book that has a lot of really good life themes, I think that was the whole premise of the book, to just remember these really pertinent life themes. But this quote in particular, it just makes me think that we all do have a purpose. We all do have a destiny. Each of us have that obligation to work towards that destiny, to work towards our purpose, to work towards what we want. I realized that probably now 6 years ago, which I will talk about in a second. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. It is everyone's duty to do the things that light them up, to do the things that make them happy, to do the things that truly feel like our purpose, which is synonymous with your destiny. These are things that you know to be true in your core. Maybe sometimes you might try to suppress it, or maybe other people might try to sway you. I've had both of these things happen, but you know in your heart that there's something that makes you feel so alive. That is your destiny. That is your purpose. And by virtue, that is your obligation. You need to be amplifying that every single day. And that means that you need to be really working towards your dreams. It truly does not matter how long it is. It doesn't matter how old you are. Like I said, it is not too late. And then the last quote of that book I wanted to read is, "Life really is generous to those who pursue their personal legend." Life will give you so much when you decide to go after your dreams, when you decide your purpose is very important and you need to realize it. You need to actually live out your purpose. That is when life will give you all of the best things. So again, all of those quotes were in the book The Alchemist. I really, really enjoyed that book, and I'm happy that I read it. All right, now to illustrate a few truly, I would say, gentle reminders. And why I say this is because, like always, I like to illustrate things that I have done in my life and how that can, of course, help someone else. That is the point of Misunderstood, to remember who we are, remember that we can take hold of our lives at any point in time. Does not matter how old we are, does not matter what we've been through. We can turn the ship around. I always like to emphasize that. I'm essentially just going to read off a few very defining moments of my life and use those to explain this concept. The first one is I changed career paths at 26 years old. Was an accountant. That's what I went to school for. That is my degree. That is all I knew up until 26. For people who've listened to the podcast for a while, you already know this whole story. You know my trajectory. And if you want more background, I believe it is episode 9 of the podcast, but all I knew was accounting for years and years and years. And at a time, that's all I thought I could do, which I think is more telling to the story. When you think one path is all that you get, when you think one path is all that you have, you're not digging deep enough. Really didn't see anything else outside of that at the time because I didn't allow myself to. I didn't allow myself to dream bigger. I didn't allow myself to expand my own expression of myself, because once I did that, the game changed. Just for summarization, I got laid off through COVID, and that felt like my ticket. That felt like my ticket to pivot and pursue something completely different. So yes, at the age of 26, I completely changed my career path. I essentially scrapped everything that I knew. I scrapped accounting. I scrapped the comfortable life I had. Even though it was stagnant, I felt stagnant. And that's how I knew that something needed to change. That's how I knew that I needed more in my life. But essentially, I scrapped it. I scrapped everything I knew to pursue a life that I felt more aligned to. And at 26 years old, I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew at least that I was going toward the path of my dreams. I knew that I was doing something for the betterment of myself, for my future self. At the time, I was in disarray and I didn't know what was going on. But now, 6 years later, I can confidently say I did exactly what I needed to do for my future self, because it was never too late to go after a dream that I had. And said dream was what I do now, content creation and working for myself. I knew I could do it, clearly, but sometimes you just need that push. And the push was getting laid off. And here's the thing, in your scenario, as you're listening to this, it might not be as extreme as getting laid off, but there will probably be something in your life that you are juggling with and you're trying to grapple with what to do. What I would say is, as hard as it is, you have to let life happen to you. You have to let life happen to you. And sometimes you don't have to be super proactive all the time. In this situation, I was very reactive. I let it happen and then I figured it out after. The next one is I moved to New York City at 28 years old. I talk about the story for the most part in episode 34 of the podcast, so you can go reference that. But I wanted to move to New York so badly. Just a little rundown for people who are new here, but the OGs know this. Born and raised in Seattle, lived in California for 10 years, San Francisco specifically, moved here from San Francisco in 2023. I've been here for 3 years. In 2023, I was 28 years old and I said, I'm moving to New York City. The entire path of making that happen, still to this day, is the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. It was the ballsiest thing I've ever done by far, but it's one of the best stories that I have. It taught me resilience. It taught me about my inner strength to a level that I've never seen before. I was met with a lot of internal battles and stress, from uprooting my life completely to forge a new one here in New York City. And I would do it all over again. There were parts of me that thought, well, okay, I'm 28. Does it make sense to come here? I would say this to anybody, even if you are 35, 40, it actually does not matter how old you are, because like we said, it is not too late. If you want to move to New York City, what are you waiting for? Move to New York City. And yes, there is nuance to any statement I make, but I didn't let the fear keep me down. I didn't let the fear stop me from actually making this happen. And mind you, this was a dream for many years. It wasn't just within a year, I decided this. I had wanted to move here for years and years and years. I personally gave myself a timeline. I said, I need to make this happen within this time frame or I will regret it. So that's what I did for myself. But I want to make it very clear that you don't have to have a timeline like me. You don't have to put such strict limits on yourself. It doesn't matter when you decide it, as long as you decide it and do it. That's really all that matters. I realize looking back, there was no reason for me to hold myself back anymore. I woke up metaphorically one day. I woke up and I decided, yeah, we need to make this happen. It is still one of the most proud moments of my life. It's still one of the most exciting. It has given me so much because I decided it was never too late to do exactly what I wanted. Who cares that the West Coast was all I knew? I'm literally born and raised in the West Coast. So yeah, I had no idea what a life on the East Coast would be like, let alone the most populous, most energetic city in the world. I had no idea. So what? I needed to do this for myself. And that's what I would tell anybody who ever wants to move wherever, New York, London, Amsterdam, anywhere. It doesn't matter. I'm just throwing out places, but anywhere you want to move, I highly encourage you to put those plans in place to get the ball rolling because it is not too late. The next one I have on my list is started a podcast at 30. For people who are new here, you might not know this backstory, but I started this podcast the first day of 2025, January 1st, 2025. Even taking it a step back, I recorded the first 10 episodes of Misunderstood in December of 2024. The point is, I decided that it doesn't matter how old I am. I have a voice. I know that I have a lot of life experiences that will lend to beautiful storytelling. And I know that the way I share is so unique and literally no one can replicate that. It still makes me emotional because I am so proud. I'm so proud of what I've created. Here's the thing. I wanted to create this for 4 years. I wrote it down in 2021 that I wanted to do this. I made excuses. Year after year. I psyched myself out. I started getting nervous. I started doubting myself. I started getting imposter syndrome. Even externally, I would go onto Spotify and I would see all these other girls who were 10 years younger than me, 5 years younger than me, doing this, being successful. And I said, okay, maybe I lost my shot. Maybe I missed my window. That's not true. It doesn't fucking matter how old you are. It doesn't matter that there are other people, seemingly way too many people doing what you want to do. I don't give a shit. And I wish I didn't give a shit sooner, but it's okay. It doesn't matter that I didn't start 4 years ago. Because honestly, I think I started exactly at the right damn time. Because my life experiences, my speaking cadence, the way I am so confident and so self-assured now, yeah, I wasn't like this 5 years ago. So I don't think the podcast would even sound very good. I don't even think that I would have had the aptitude for how I think, how I'm able to show up and how I'm able to speak. I didn't have that back then. So everything happened for a reason and it was never too late. I arrived here, I would say probably at the right time. I share that story just to reemphasize that it really doesn't matter when you decide to go for your projects, when you decide to do the things that make you happy, do the things that are burning inside you, your purpose. When you have a purpose, there is almost nothing that can get in its way. I do believe that. I believe that when you really care about things that matter to you so much, you can do quite literally anything. I find it so powerful when people go for their dreams. I'm such an advocate for people going for their dreams. Of course, hello. Quite literally talk about that on the podcast all the time. But putting it into perspective, there's so many ways that you can go for your dreams. I want everyone to realize that and actively go for it. Why wait? It really is not too late. All right, the next one I wrote down is it took me 4 years to hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, but it only took 8 months for me to hit 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. A lot of you I know found me through my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel was here long before this podcast was, and truly, I have grown so much on YouTube. I'm not even talking about the numbers right now. I've grown so much on YouTube as an individual. I often go back and watch videos from 2022 and 2023 when I was physically, I looked so much more of a baby and I wasn't as confident and didn't really know how to edit very well. That's fine. That's not the point. But I realized that for as long as I've been a YouTube creator, for as long as I've been making vlogs, I have always wanted to be a big YouTuber. I want to be a big YouTuber. That's still very much a dream. That's still very much a goal. Here's the thing. 4 years ago, all I had to do was start. And I did. I started and it has been quite the journey. It's been a slow growth. That's not a bad thing because I think when the journey is a slow burn, you really learn that there's so many people who are rallying behind you to make it happen. There are people who have known me for now years and years and years, and not just the surface level stuff. They know a lot of core things about me, and that's really special. I remember even thinking about this last year in 2025, where that is when I saw the biggest growth in this channel by far. I mean, literally doubling my following in 8 months is pretty impressive. I'm so proud of that, but I realize it is because I poured more love and more effort into my videos. I mean, I've talked about my process before, very high level, but I love what I do. And because I love what I do, I'm going to keep on going. And I know that it's not too late to be a big creator. Of course not. There's so many creators who pop off very quickly. That's just an example. But for me, I think I'm understanding that my journey is supposed to be this way. I'm letting myself continue what I love, pouring into myself, pouring into my love, pouring into my craft. And that has probably given me the biggest return. It's given me the biggest appreciation for being a creator, specifically on YouTube, because being a creator on YouTube is so different than being a creator anywhere else. Everyone knows this. It takes the most work, and I believe that it has the highest return, and that is why I do it, and that is why I love it. I love creating stories. I love storytelling. We know this. YouTube, for me, has been such a beautiful reminder of it is not too late. It's not too late to pick up your camera and start. It is not too late to express yourself fully, because YouTube is where I can visually express myself so fully. It is therapy in a way for me. It has been for a very long time. So it's not too late. And I really encourage anybody who is a creative who has been wanting to create in that type of way, or literally any type of creative. So this spans beyond just video and just YouTube. It is such a beautiful way to express yourself, and it's not too late. Also, it can be discouraging. Like I said, I've been doing this for 4 years, or 5 now in total. I've had this channel for 5 years. First of all, I wasn't consistent for those 4 years, and that's probably why I grew so slow, but I really got so consistent in the last year. And I think that is why I've grown so much, and it's been so motivating. So I really hope that motivates you to continue on even when views are low, even when it seems like no one is watching. Someone's always watching. First of all, I've said that before. Someone's always watching. 1, 2, views are going to be low, probably at the beginning, but don't let that discourage you. The love of the craft should be your driving force. That was always mine. That was always mine. Even when people did not watch my videos for years, I knew that I had something special, and no one can take that away from me. Now I'm here. I really, really hope that motivates at least one person. The next one I wrote down is travel opportunities. I wrote down for leisure and for work. So I'm going to start with for work. The most recent one, I did actually tell you guys this last episode. I got to do a staycation with hotels.com, and I went to Governor's Island, which was honestly so much fun. And it reminded me that all of my hard work has gotten me here. All the years of creating videos, all the years of putting myself out there. The hotels.com saw me and said, this girl is really good at what she does. We want her to work with us. Outside of the trip itself, it is really validating to be seen for your work. It's very validating to know that there's people who appreciate what you do. That reminds me that I need to keep on going. That is a very clear reminder that I have to keep on going. And then last year, I also did tell you guys the story on a different podcast episode, but I essentially got to go to Stagecoach for free last year. I got a work partnership for that weekend, which literally paid for the entire weekend. And That is because I put myself out there. And mind you, just for a timeline, I put it out there 3 weeks before Stagecoach. I did not have tickets. I did not have a flight. I did not have outfits. I did not have literally anything. All I had was my voice. And I literally made a TikTok saying, I want to do this and I'm going to make it happen. And the universe quite literally rallied behind me to make this happen. Now I have to literally read that quote I read earlier. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you achieve it. That is right. That is exactly what happened. I said I wanted something. I wanted it so damn bad, and the universe pulled their strings and made it happen. The universe made that video get seen by all the right people, and everything happened. And I'm so thankful for that. But I just want it to be extremely clear that it's never too late. It's never too late to get your dreams. It's never too late to do the things you say you want to do. All you need is to believe it. And the last item I want to share with you guys is training for a marathon at 31/32. I write that because by the time I actually run the New York City Marathon, I will be 32, which is wild. My birthday's in October and the marathon is in November. I'm actually very close to starting the training block. The training block will start in July, so it's very exciting and very nerve-wracking. It's equally those two things, but there's so much lore with this marathon. There's so much lore with my running journey as a whole. Last year, I ran 2 half marathons. I also ran a lot of 5Ks, 10Ks. I had a very huge injury last year. I had surgery earlier this year. Your girl has been through so much with her body and with my running journey. From a girl who loves running so much and who hasn't really gotten to fully do that in a whole year now. I haven't run a full race to my normal capacity in an entire calendar year because I've been injured, because I'm in physical therapy, because I'm working to get better. I'm talking with my surgeon. I'm getting a custom knee brace to make sure that I can run. There's so much happening in my world when it comes to my health and well-being with running and making sure I'm healthy enough to get the job done. But here's the thing. This has been my dream for a very long time. It's technically been my dream since 2024. I said I wanted to run the New York City Marathon in 2024. So this is about 2 years in the making. And it's very exciting. And yes, so many obstacles and hurdles literally have been in my way. We have gone through a lot, but that's not stopping me because I realize it's not too late to get my dream. It's not too late to get my damn medal. And it is not too late to run a marathon. It's not. And even if I was 10 years older, I would still say the same thing. 20 years older, it does not matter. It's not too late to do the things you say you want to do. There are resources, there are people around you that will rally behind you, that will help you get it done. And it really does make me emotional because it has been such an emotional year with my rehab and with my recovery. It's been an extremely emotional year, but we're doing it. And I'm just so thankful that I have a team of people who are helping me get better safely and as quickly as possible to be able to get this done. I can't wait to take you guys through the excitement of it all. The journey is about to start and it is so exciting. Me thinking about being a kid when I first got injured, when I first got my ACL tear when I was 16, I will never forget. My surgeon at the time, when I was 16, said that I probably would never be able to run a marathon. He did say that. It's crazy how words can stick with you for that long. And here I am, literally twice my age from that point, about to train for my first marathon ever because it's not too late. It doesn't matter that I have had a few injuries. It doesn't matter that there have been some bumps in the road. As long as I'm healthy and I'm safe and I'm doing things under protocol, which I absolutely am, the sky is the limit. I can do this. And I think it's such a beautiful thing to remember that even though you've had hardship and even though things have not been linear, things have not been easy, things have been actually very opposite of easy. That doesn't mean that you throw your dreams away. That doesn't mean you stop trying. Of course, I'm emo, always and forever. But this mindset of it's not too late to go after your dreams, it's not too late to go after any goal you have. This can be applied to anything, of course. I think about my reading comprehension, how I stopped reading for over a decade and I'm still embarrassed to say that, but I stopped reading for over a decade, and then I decided to pick it back up again. And now I am well on my way to reading 50 books in 1 year. All right. So my reading comprehension has completely done a 180, which I'm so proud of. Learning any new skill, whether it's baking, whether it's anything hands-on, like crocheting. For me, I did not do it since I was 9. I started doing it again and I love it. And I've been doing it a lot and it's been so fun and so exciting. So here's the thing: big dreams, small dreams, everyday dreams, very wild and bountiful dreams. Doesn't matter. You can do them at any point. It's never too late. It really isn't. And going back to our very first example on this episode about the Knicks, go Knicks, the game is not over. As long as you're still playing, you still have time to turn things around. And with that, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Misunderstood. Remember to rate the show 5 stars on both Apple and Spotify and follow it wherever you're listening. Join our Geneva group chat. It is always linked in the description of every single podcast episode. Hang out with me and my other socials: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest at NK Madani. And I will talk to you guys in my next one.